Hi, friends. It's happened. I finally am coming to you directly from my bed. I've at least had the professionalism and courtesy to sit at my desk before, but now is not the time. Here we are. I just performed last night in Here Serpent, and I haven't been great about keeping up with documentation in here because the process was just so demanding and so fast. Um, so this is a play which is kind of an adaptation or experimental treatment more than adaptation of Antony and Cleopatra. Um, and I was adapting it for myself and Brian McQueen, who is an incredible actor, who's trained primarily as a classical vocalist. We worked together on the play Future Street, earlier last year. So it was really interesting. I had like a very skeletal idea. We applied for the spot, the performance slot at Dixon Place. We sent the application in October. They got back to us in like early December, offering this mid-January spot. And it was just really a fever pitch, trying to get the script in order and then um, yeah, and then trying to gather a team. And yeah, I learned a lot. I ended up stepping into a lot of roles that I have really avoided and been very afraid of. Um, and having to do them was hard, like having to try to shoulder responsibility for stage management and prop mastering, and certainly production promotion stuff was very hard. Um, and I learned a lot, and it is, possible, not sustainable, but like possible, at least possible enough that I'm able to feel like I understand the mechanisms of putting on a show a little bit better than I did. I also had an incredible team. The other cast members were Noor Hajar, who I also have worked with before as an actor, um, who has an incredible sketch comedy, improv comedy skill set, and has also done a lot of capital A acting, and also Elizabeth Ray, who was one of the original readers for Uncivil Heart, who is just really inspiring to me for their um, dedication and work ethic and generosity and the quality of their presence and attention as a performer. And also their gender nonconforming masculine spectrum person, um, who's still I shouldn't say still, but I mean it's true. I have like a lot of internalized stuff around that. I often have a little bit of extra difficulty when I see one of my own people um, really taking them seriously. I'm not proud of that, but it's true. And so having a working relationship with Elizabeth is really healing in that they are absolutely. Um, Absolutely a masculine spectrum, gender nonconforming person, and absolutely an artist that I admire, and an energy which is really um, nurturing and inspiring and grounding and motivating for me to be around. Um, and they also help me a lot with props, painting banners, cutting out signs, spray painting things. Um, they, I think, have had more hands on production experience, and they were uh, a little alarmed for me at how over my head I was. So they came on board as an actor, and also helped me out a lot with other things. And process wise, there was a frustration which was pretty predictable, where I was just responsible for so much of the organizational big picture stuff that it was very hard for me to drop down into myself and do the work that I wanted to do in the piece as a performer. Um, and that was really hard. Having more of a team, having more support would have made a difference. Um, but that's something that I've been in struggle with overall, as my ability as a collaborator and what role I'm suited to. And I feel like I have more questions, more doubts, fewer answers every time I do it. Um, Something that I really wanted for this project was for it to be a queer process, for it to have a decentralized locus of power. And within that, uh, that wasn't a power structure that was legible to everybody. There was one person in particular who really had trouble being accountable within that, and it was very hard for them to respect other people's time. Um, and then I, ostensibly being in an authority role in the ensemble, in the theater company, which is me, um, had a very hard time addressing that. So I'm still learning, and it feels like I'm still really searching performance wise, theater wise, for um, collaborative structures uh, that work, that feel boundaried and functional. Um, and also, it was magical to like see a thing that I had half imagined and barely managed to write down, turned into like a show. It was a show. It was an hour-long show that was a really beautiful, really edgy, out there, extremely queer, trans performance piece. Um, and it does, I almost wish it didn't, because it's so challenging, but it does really amaze and excite me in a profound way when I'm seeing a production that uh, relied upon my vision. So, so I've been really dealing with that almost exclusively, to be honest, over the past month? Um, and I have my novel out to a few readers. I have a meeting scheduled with one of them for the day after tomorrow to get some feedback. I have a reading list for the next round of resources that I want to incorporate into that work. I'm still, mostly um, working on trying to get like cohesive voices that are distinct from each other, and that code switch and that feel vital and authentic and not stereotyped, especially for the enslaved characters, but also for everyone, because it's set in the 1850s right now. So, so that's what I have coming up next. I'm also doing some booking, which is coming at me fast, trying to book some poetry shows for the spring. And I am concerned about that, especially because I spent a bunch of money on the production of Here Serpent, um, which, you know, it's hard because again, I'm really lucky to be able to do it. And I do have an Indiegogo running. I am trying to recoup some of it, but it also was like I didn't realize how demanding it was going to be. And then once we were doing it, we just had to all the way do it. You know, we couldn't do it and then not have a set, not we could avoid having the costs, which we did have once we had committed to it. Um, so I'm trying. I have some art modeling coming up. I'm still working at the coffee shop, for God's sakes. Um, and of course with your help that I'm really grateful for. I'm trying to figure out a budget that is functional, that will let me travel in the spring and hopefully also be somewhere inexpensive for at least a few weeks so that I can get into a more immersive space for the novel, even if I don't get one of the residencies that I applied for. Um, yeah. I feel like I am still quite anxious, honestly, from the show, and from the run up to the show. I feel like there is a lot that I need to release, and then I get to be in a grief process. Um, so yeah, I am just, I'm just trying to stay in touch with the truth that I created this thing with a great deal of help, but I created this thing like out of myself. And there are other things where it came from. There are other things where it came from. And I was also able to watch myself. Something that I uh, have been proud of myself for, I guess, something that other people have identified about me as a good characteristic as a writer is that I like have my uh, I'm able to pick out, I'm able to locate my fear, my discomfort, and move towards it. And honestly, it's hard for me to find that edge in poems a lot of the time right now in my poetic practice. I don't feel as close to that. But in the novel and in this theater piece, I absolutely did. I absolutely was able to like make my story into the story of a character I didn't want to voice. Like find that proximity between myself and like someone who I don't want to redeem, and just make them visible. Um, and that certainly is a through line from the novel through Here Serpent, through some of the work poetically that I am currently working on, where it's like, yeah, implicating white queers and white supremacy, looking at how I am adjacent to or really a part of these dehumanizing power structures. Um, yeah, and how and my hopelessness or complicity or ineffectuality in the face of that. Um, so yeah, I'm still obsessed with the things that I'm obsessed with, which uh, creatively, I guess, is good news. Um, so yeah, I again, I'm so grateful for your support. I'll get another video update out to those of you who get 2 a month in some days or a week or something like that. Um, and yeah, and the next installment of the novel just went up some minutes ago, and I'll be posting some more behind the scenes stuff and production stills from Here Serpent also, because the images are just too good. They're just too gorgeous and queer. Um, so thank you again for helping me and being here with me and taking the time to listen to me. Yeah, I'll be in touch again soon. Thanks.